Hi, excuse me. Hi there, everybody. Let's see. I hope that you all can hear me. I'm wearing my earbuds and I never know, like, are they working? So we'll wait to see if somebody shows up, but I guess I'll just get started. So I wanted to hop on live because something happened this morning that I want to share with you, because there's some things that if you're watching, can you let me know if you can hear? And so if you're watching, let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. You can hear me. Sorry for the, yeah, let me just see. Anyway, hopefully this is working. Anyway, I want to share something that happened this morning that showed me that I'm, let me back up. Oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. The problem is I cannot see if anybody's typing anything, but it looks like there's a little volume, so we're good. Okay. So as you know, I work with the nervous system. I do somatic work, and I'm very passionate about helping you regulate your nervous system, because as somebody who suffered, continues to, I don't know, it's like a lifelong thing, right? Like I'm being more open lately about my CPTSD diagnosis, because, and I am not somebody that likes labels. I've had clients come to me that have had like 10, 15 labels put on them that it's just stupid to me. And it puts you in such a like low vibrational state when you're like, I am this person and I have all these issues. But when I went to therapy in order to get insurance to cover my therapy, the therapist diagnosed me with anxiety disorder and CPTSD, which are both fitting diagnoses for me at that time. I don't choose, you'll never probably hear me say, I have CPTSD, because I don't choose to acknowledge or like say I am a CPTSD survivor. I don't even like that. I feel like that, again, it's like this kind of lower vibrational thing. That's just a little segue into, I grew up in a very traumatic childhood. It was just my mom and I. She's got narcissistic tendencies, alcoholism, and a lot of yelling happened. And so I'm already a sensitive person, I was already born with a sensitive nervous system. And so everything to me was just like on edge. I was almost probably born in an activated nervous system state. I can only imagine what went on when she was pregnant with me. Knowing some of the backstory, I can imagine she was very stressed, and everybody's got their own demons. I'm not here to belittle anyone. She certainly has her own thing, but just was not a mother. just plain and simple, was not a mother. And I'm getting more open about this as well, because my book is about to come out. And when that comes out, it's really going to be raw. And as I've shared before, it's going to feel like I'm standing naked out in the world, because there's a lot of stuff in there. So a little shameless plug about the book. It should be out hopefully this summer, if all goes as planned. And but I came on today for a specific reason, and that is that I want us to start paying attention to the subtle ways that we may be dysregulating our nervous system. Now, this is coming from somebody who's been doing this work, somatic work, nervous system healing, for a couple years now, like really deep dive into it, and teaching it and helping my clients with it. And as I've shared before, this was one of the biggest missing pieces to the puzzle of my own healing, as somebody that's been in the yoga community, the energy healing community, the mindset healing community for years, literally since 2007. I still, a few years ago, was struggling with physical symptoms of chronic fatigue, thyroidism, hypothyroidism, and hormonal imbalances and anxiety. So it's like, while all of that stuff helped me immensely, it was still missing the piece of the body. And so that's where I got into the somatic work, and it shifted all of that for me, honestly. And so I've been doing this work a long time. But this morning, and I've been aware of this pattern for a little bit, and this morning I literally just finished breakfast. And I've been noticing this. I'll take the last bite in my mouth, plate is done, and I'm already jumping up and moving on to the next thing. Like, I'm taking the plate into the kitchen, and then I'm doing this, and then my brain is like, okay, and then we got to do this, and then we got to do this, and we got to do this. That is indication of a flight response. And that is like a really subtle way. It's like we could totally blow that off and be like, oh, I just, moving on to the next thing. I got a lot to do. But today, instead of doing that, because I've been catching it now for a few times, same thing when when William and I get to a place, like we're driving and I'm in the passenger seat, he barely has the car shut off and I already have the door open and I'm out. It's like I just gotta keep moving. Flight response. And so what I did this morning, is I just said no. Because I went like this, and then I was like, and I just made myself sit there and finish the bite. And that is so subtle that it's so easy to just kind of go, well, that's so simple. But I felt something in my body when I did that. Because if you've got this kind of anxious energy going in your body, the tendency for a person who has a flight trauma response, like myself, that was my go-to. Flight and fawn and freeze really are, my top three. When we have that sensation of that kind of anxious energy in our body, the typical response is to get up and move so we don't have to feel that. And this goes with so many things. Anger, grief, like those of us that are flight masters, we keep ourselves going so we don't have to feel. And as long as we're doing that, we are going to be stuck in that automated trauma/stress response. And it's just not a place you want to be. As somebody, I can share personally the effects of living in that state. It broke down my body. It didn't make any sense why I had chronic fatigue when I did. The doctors, they fixed the thyroid with some thyroid medication. My numbers started coming up, but I still was exhausted. And they're like, oh, well, you're depressed. And here's an antidepressant. And I was like, no, I'm not depressed. And he's like, well, you have all the signs except for these two. And then that's when I started doing work. And it's like, nobody was asking me about trauma. Nobody was, and I get it, doctors just don't have the time. I'm not here to talk shit about doctors. They don't have the time, they don't have the resources, their mode is like fix the issue, even if we're fixing it with a surface thing. I want to just stress how important this stuff is. And I see people, I've talked to a lot of people about this stuff, and most people don't want to address this. Why? Because it's so much easier to just take a pill. It's so much easier to just take a pill, and I want you to know, if you are on antidepressants or anti-anxiety or whatever, I'm not here to shame you by any means. This is the system that we're in. And for periods of time, sometimes we need those medications. I probably needed those medications because with the severity of the levels of trauma that I had, I should have probably been on some medication at some point to bridge me over, to get my brain in kind of a right state so that I could then do some deeper work. I just have a weird thing about medication in my mind. But, so I'm not here to shame you if you are on medication. But I'm here to say that most people I've noticed shy away from this work. Even when I explain it to them, you know, even people that I know very well, that know me and trust me, they shy away from it because nobody wants to look at this stuff. Nobody wants to feel the feelings that might be underneath the flight response. But I'm telling you, you're not going to get where you want to be, wherever that is. You're not going to get there if you don't address this. You're going to be living in this kind of surface level place where there's always going to be an inkling of, there's something more. I feel disconnected, but I don't know why. I don't feel connected to myself. I want this, but it's not happening. Or I want to heal the autoimmune, but it's not going away. I'm doing everything right. I'm taking all the supplements. By the way, supplements just become another, you know, I love integrative health. And again, I'm not knocking that, but supplements just become a healthier version of the same issue, which is, if I take this pill, this will go away. But it doesn't. It doesn't go away. I took the pill. I didn't take the antidepressants. I did go pick them up. From the pharmacy, and I looked at them, and then that made me depressed. Actually, I was in bed for like a day, just like, oh my God, I'm depressed. But I just really sat with it, and I'm like, is this for me? Is this for me personally? I didn't just do the thing that somebody else was telling me to do. I listened inside of myself. And that's what I received, was that it was not for me, and then my intuition was guiding me in a different place. And thank God, because it opened up a whole new level of understanding for me. And it wasn't easy. This isn't the easy path, but neither is taking a pill or a supplement, because you're still having to deal with things. Or you take the pill or the supplement and it gets better for a while, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then it feels like you kind of go down again. That's because the issue is still there. So I obviously have a lot of things to say about this. I have a lot of opinions about this. I just don't miss out. Don't miss out on doing nervous system work if you really want to see real change in your health, in your finances even, in your relationships, in your relationship to yourself. The nervous system piece is absolutely non-negotiable, in my opinion. And it's not just, it's deeply understanding your specific trauma response. And it's not this cookie cutter thing that's like, okay, if you have these 5 things that you do, then you're a flight person, and that's when you know you're in flight. I've been working on the nervous system for years, and I still, just a moment ago, was ready to just hop up after having a bite of food, my last bite of food, and to keep going. Our society also perpetuates this, right? You get rewarded for like doing a lot of things, for being the person that can do it all. You get rewarded for that. So our society feeds into this. This is such a big conversation. It's much bigger than just the nervous system too. This is about healing ourselves as a society. We're not fucking machines, okay? But that's what our society, that's what capitalism, which I don't have any problem with capitalism, but that's what a capitalistic society perpetuates, is that this hustle, stay busy, keep going, get rewarded when you're a hustler, you're lazy if you want to take a nap, you know, what's wrong with you, and the shame and the guilt if you do anything other than that. So again, it's way bigger. Maybe it's called healing your nervous system is resistance, because that's what it is. Healing your nervous system is resistance. If you haven't thought about doing that yet, or if you've been resisting that because you know there's something underneath there that you're gonna have to freaking look at and you don't want to, I beg you, to take a look. I beg you to, explore. And we do this in a very easy way. So there's many ways if you want to explore with me. I have an online nervous system healing program. I've had people go through that said it was better than a year of therapy. I've had a psychologist go through it that said she learned more about herself in that program than she did in four years of getting her doctorate in psychology. It's deeply healing, y'all, and you do it in your own time. You can work with me one-on-one. I work with clients through somatic work. And then I have a couple things coming up too. So this Friday, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time, I will be doing a release method workshop specifically for you if you struggle with the flight response. So if you have anxiety, if you're like, I gotta be busy all the time, if you can't slow down, if relaxing makes you feel guilty, this workshop is for you. It's called Slow Down to Activate. It's my release method, but it's specifically for people that struggle with flight. And if you can't join me live in person, you can join on Zoom or you can get a recording. So let me know if you'd like that. And then May 7th, I have a 6-week live group coaching and healing program coming up. It's called Aligned. And it's all about healing your nervous system, working on your critic, the criticism, the self-doubt, but deeply going into the nervous system, into the body through somatic work. My dear friend and healer Patricia is going to be doing a dream circle. So we're going to be doing rituals with this ceremony, kind of like a beautiful women's circle. But each week there will be a specific theme. We're going to be working on feminine and masculine energies, balancing those, activating your most aligned self. Again, working on the criticism, the self-doubt, working on the nervous system. I'm sure I'm missing something else, but that's the gist. So I would love for you to join me for either or both of those. I only have 4 spots left for the Aligned program, so message me on that. I'm really passionate about this, as you can tell, and it's time. Like, y'all, we can't mess around with this anymore. The world is elevating, consciousness is elevating, and honestly, like, our nervous systems, people are tweaking out right now because it's like the vibrations are intense, and it's going to take some shifting and some healing of your own nervous system to elevate yourself to that place. And it first comes with awareness and deep understanding. So if you're just popping on, go back and watch the rest of this. It all started with me getting up from the breakfast table too soon. Like, I gotta keep going, jump, move, go, boo, 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 boo. Busy, 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 busy. If that's you, message me. We have work to do. And it's not that bad. Trust me, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And it's so important, okay? Nervous system work is non-negotiable. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna start saying that. Nervous system work is non-fucking-negotiable. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. If you've had any trauma in your life, which who hasn't? We all lived through a pandemic. That was a big T trauma. At the very least, you've got that going on in your body, which is also why we're seeing so many symptoms and things coming out now, because we're now 2-3 years later, which is when, after a trauma happens, that's when the mental health stuff starts coming out, or the physical symptoms. So I think I've said my point enough, but I cannot stress enough that nervous system work is non-fucking-negotiable, and learning about your trauma/stress response so that you have all the awareness when you go into those triggers so that you can shift and heal. It's a moment by moment experience. There is no there. We don't get there. We're not done. We don't, finally heal our nervous system and never get dysregulated again. You're meant to go into activated states. That's for your own protection. You're meant to go into flight if you need to flee a situation that's dangerous. We don't want to turn that off. But if we're not meant to do that when we're sitting at the freaking breakfast table eating our breakfast, okay? That was not a dangerous situation. But because I've had trauma, and probably most likely you have had trauma, we're going into these activated states often when we're not in dangerous situations. This is what nervous system dysregulation is. It's being activated when there's no danger, because your body has been wired out of trauma to do that. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. Sorry, one last example that happened this morning in Pilates. And that was this woman, the teacher. I walked in a little late. I got going a little bit late. And the teacher, like, I was supposed to get some wrist weights or something. And I didn't hear that. I heard ball, so I got the ball, but I didn't get the wrist weights. And she's like, get your wrist weights if you don't have those. And so I walk over, and she kind of gave me like a look, like a disapproving look. She handed me the weights. And now I know at my studio that I go to, thank goodness, they don't like cut you off if you come in late. Like I know the owner, and everybody's really cool there. But this one teacher, this is only my second class with her, and I just don't really care for her. She's not super friendly, and I was a little bit activated from that. But thankfully, because I have this awareness, I was like, oh, it's because she just gave me that disapproving look. That's, to my nervous system, that's a threat. To my nervous system, a disapproving look is a threat, because I grew up with a very volatile mom. So do you see the subtlety in that? Even just a look can activate your nervous system and send you into one of those activated states. It's that simple. And that's why we have to be so masterfully trained in understanding our own triggers and our own nervous system, so that we can shift and bring ourselves back to that homeostasis, to that parasympathetic, by saying, I'm not in danger right now. That woman is not going to yell at me. But in my childhood, that's what would happen. That look would mean I was going to get yelled at. I was going to be in trouble. The awareness I have now is profound, and it is priceless. Absolutely priceless. Do I still get triggered? Yes. But it was like I felt the feeling and I knew what it was. Oh, she gave me a disapproving look. I let it go. Instead of, in the past, it would have made me go into a fight, and I would have been like that for the rest of the day. I was able to just say, oh, okay, yep, I see what's going on here. Yep, I'm safe. I'm not in danger. Nobody's going to yell at me. If they do, I'm a big, strong woman now. I can fight back, right? But we reverse back to the helplessness and the fear of being a child who couldn't fight back to people that were 5 times bigger than them. So there's so much wrapped up in this, more than I can even discuss in this video, although I've given you a lot of things to think about. But I highly recommend joining me this Friday night on Zoom if you're not in Cedar Rapids, or join me live for the Slow Down to Activate Release Method class. Recording is available if you can't be there live. And if you really want to go deep and you're ready to heal these patterns, join me for the Aligned Group program that starts on May 7th. It's live on Zoom, so you can be anywhere. Also recorded if you have to miss. And that's a 6-week program. You also get a one-on-one session with me included in that, in addition to the 6 weeks, and a Dream Circle work session with Patricia, one of my healers and dear friends. So it's like a women's circle / a deep healing program. So you're gonna get teachings, healings. We're gonna actually move the energy with the somatic work, with ritual, with ceremony. And I cannot be more excited for that. There's only 4 spots left. There's extended payment plans if you need it. Okay, that's all I have to say. Let me know in the comments what resonated for you in this video. I'm so curious, like what was like a, whoa, that hit me. Okay, and then I'm going to leave links for both programs below if you want to join me for the release method slowdown or the 6 week. It's kind of like 8 weeks though, because there's an additional week for Patricia's class and then a one-on-one with me. So it's pretty much like an 8-week class. So I should call it 8 weeks. Anyway, the Align method. I'm so excited to do this program. I mean, it's going to shift so many things for you. We can make it as affordable as you need. If you need extended payment plans, message me. Sending you so much love. Nervous system work is non-fucking negotiable. Sorry, that's the truth. We got to do it. I have different ways you can do it with me. And let's go. Let's do this.